Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force, and here today I wanted to talk with you guys about online gaming communities and how lots of them are filled with pricks. Yes, the people who will troll you, will make fun of you, will insult you for not knowing everything that you're supposed to know or doing everything that you're supposed to do, and how a majority of multiplayer games in those communities is just riddled with them, but some, every so often, isn't. And if you couldn't tell by the gameplay you're watching, Guild Wars 2 is the game that I will be referencing and giving huge accolades this afternoon. But before we dive into that specific example, let's just talk about it. It's pretty obvious, and it goes without saying, that because people are anonymous on the internet, they can hide behind a username and a profile picture. It tends to bring out the worst in them, or just expose the terrible human that they were to begin with. This happens quite frequently in chat rooms and forums and comment sections of, I don't know, say YouTube videos. Probably going to be a few pricks in this one as well. It just tends to happen. I don't know what, I do know what it is. It's because there's no consequence. So people say, hey, well, since people made fun of me and my life are still due to this day, I'm gonna vent that and let it out and just be a terrible person to other people. Now, I can do my fair share of ribbing, but it's mostly joking around and mostly in jest. Whenever I'm playing a competitive game, I might say something like, wow, look at this scrub, but I would never type in chat to the person, wow, look at this scrub, go kill yourself. But guess what? People have said that exact thing to me. And it's one of those things where it just happens because, once more, there's no consequence. But it's not just that. That is not the sole reason. I think a big part of it that we need to realize comes down to game design. And I'm not blaming the developers. Developers are making games that end up encouraging this because people like to play them. But those same games, unfortunately, bring out the terrible side of people. Let's talk about the big, obvious elephant in the room: MOBAs. Be it Dota 2, League of Legends, or even, yes, the new casual-focused, team-focused, everyone's happy Heroes of the Storm, still has plenty of toxic behavior. It's because the game design is competitive in nature, two teams fighting against each other. Key word there, two teams, and those teams have multiple people in them. And so the fact that it's a team-based game and you're fighting against another team, if your team is doing poorly, you're gonna want to place the blame somewhere because your brain wants to rationalize, why am I not winning? What's happening? Let's try to break this down. And because of the fact that people are selfish and self-preservation is a #1 priority, as it should be, evolutionary, it makes sense. We want to make sure that we're not dying and we can pass on our genes. Even though this is just video games, that sort of stuff gets your brain churning. So we're always gonna want to shift the blame somewhere else. It's basically a recipe for disaster. You're throwing all these bits and pieces into a pot, and what ends up coming out is people screaming and hating each other and saying awful, awful, awful things. So the game design of MOBAs tends to lead to this, and game design even of MMOs in many situations tend to lead to this as well. Even when you're working with a group of people, an alliance, a faction if you will, you're still competing against them. You're competing to hit the highest level first, to get that endgame gear first so that you can get EP and NV. But even just in your moment-to-moment tasks, you're competing in a lot of MMOs. You're competing to attack that monster so that when it dies you can get credit for it. You're competing to run to that resource node so that you can gather it before the scrub lord behind you does. That competition is even present on the side of people that are supposed to be your allies, your friends. However, Guild Wars 2 is a great example of game design that leads to cooperative play. Literally the entire game, from what I've experienced, leveling up now from 1 to 70 as I get ready for that upcoming expansion, has been so cooperative focused, and I kid you not, I've played this game pretty much non-stop for the past week. I have not come across one instance or seen one instance of toxic behavior. I have seen nothing but helpful people giving suggestions, giving advice. Anytime I ask a question in general chat, nothing but positive, helpful, reinforcing. And I'm not sitting here and saying all games should be Care Bear and we should be holding hands and skipping through a field of flowers. No, of course not. If you've watched my channel or watched me play games, I can get pretty competitive, and I enjoy competitive games. In fact, let's just stick in the MMO genre and go right to what's probably its complete inverse, ArcAge. ArcAge is a game where even your own faction can attack you. And there is mob tagging, and there is resource tagging. I think it's been a while since I played it, but all I remember from ArcAge is having a lot of fun crushing people, but also getting constantly insulted. Like, it just happens non-stop. So Guild Wars 2 has managed to construct a system through their game design, kudos developers, that encourages cooperative play. Again, no mob tagging, no resource tagging. There's also the fact that there are constantly group events that, yes, require multiple people to be there. And it's really crazy, and it's been great. Now, I'm not blind to the fact that Guild Wars 2, while it is popular, isn't the most popular MMO. So it does have a smaller player base than some of the MMOs out there, and as a result, you tend to run into toxic behavior less often. We've also got the fact that as this game ages, the people who are sticking with it, since it's not seeing exponential growth or anything, tend to be the people who enjoy it, who like the community, and they want to be helpful. Because most of the people who don't like the game and don't give a crap and are gonna talk shit nonstop, they've left, they've moved on to another competitive game where they control and be terrible people. So there are those factors, but I don't think we should be blind to game design certainly playing a major role, because maybe many of the people that I've met here in Guild Wars 2 that have been nothing but helpful, if I were to play against them in another competitive game, like say a MOBA, maybe they'd be talking shit. It's certainly possible. I find it very interesting how the way a video game is structured, and we're all sitting down at our computers, we're playing this game, we choose X game or Y game, but depending on the game design, it can tend to bring out different aspects of your personality based on the competitive nature of it and where we want to place blame, bringing out these aspects of us. I just find it very interesting, and I even see it happening to myself. I'm not blind, you know. I can be a hyper-competitive kind of a jerk. I just happen to have the self-restraint to not type it out in chat and insult people. But sometimes I'll say to myself, look at that huge scrub. However, I think there's a difference as well. Maybe you don't think there is, but for me, I tend to say it in jest. I tend to say it jokingly. I'm never actually upset at someone, and I would certainly never tell someone to go kill themselves, which it's happened to me. I've had those words. I've had those words said to me on several occasions in multiplayer games. If nothing else, I find it very interesting the effects that video games can have on us and how game design does play a role on it, which is precisely why I wanted to talk about this with you guys here today. Once more, I'm going to continue to enjoy my time here in Guild Wars 2. I will enjoy the very helpful community, but at the same time, I'm well aware that not too long from now, I'll probably be playing a very competitive game, and I'll probably get upset when something doesn't go my way, and I'll probably call someone a huge scrub. I however, will maintain the restraint to not type it out in chat, so to not be a huge dick. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video talking about people being pricks on the internet. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this topic in the chat box below, and those of you who will certainly be pricks there, well, I don't blame you, because you can get away with it. And now we just know, we all know you're a horrible person. Remember those kids who used to pick on you in school? You're actually worse than them. I know, it's terrible. You should have the will, determination, and strength within you to be better than that. You should rise above it. That's what I want you to do. Please, do it for yourself. I'm trying to help you.